Hi friends and travelers, welcome and happy Valentine's Day. Hopefully. I hope there's that on time. We are gathered here today to be both lovers and haters, but mostly haters. Because I got a bone to pick with Pandora, or some fuck-ass rings. Hi, I'm Percy. I'm a romance author with a background in performing arts, Valentine's Day lover, self-proclaimed and self-deprecating Disney adult. How's it going? Now why might I, as a book/author, tuber, and occasional movie commentator, be making a video about Pandora rings? Well, I've been wanting to make a video about the importance of Disney princess iconography ever since that Descendants video. Which, by the way, thank you so much for the amount of love that I got on that video. Thank you. But it all came up because I had a lot of feelings around Cinderella specifically. I mean, I had a lot of feelings about both of them because personally I think the aesthetics of a character should be used to ground the story and should tell you more about that character. We dress ourselves. Our characters dress themselves. You know what I mean? But looking into it, I just got really into Cinderella. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. And seeing these rings really reignited that passion in me. Because some of them are great. And some of them aren't. But either way, I got a lot of feelings about it. So I hope that this fun, lighthearted video can keep you company today, whether you're getting ready to go on a date, you're pre-gaming with your girls before going out, or if you're staying in and taking some self-love. I'm just happy to spend time with you. Either way, no matter what you're doing, just make sure that you do something that fills your heart with joy today, okay? And don't forget to subscribe if you love videos like this where we just have a fun little kiki, okay? But now let's get into the ring. Also, while we do this, I'm going to be painting some tapered candles because I'm filming this a few days before Valentine's Day, and my partner and I are gonna cook dinner together, and I thought it'd be fun to have cute candles with little hearts on it. So that's what we're doing together today. So, we're hanging out. Okay, so rings. So, here's all of them. Tag yourself in the comments. Personally, I think I'm torn between Cinderella, Tiana, and Belle. But you let me know, which one do you think suits me? And don't let the red sweater, sway your opinion, okay? Now, looking at these rings from first glance, what sticks out to you? Hello? Personally, I am struck by... I can't open this. Personally, I am struck by the metal choices. Because, let's be so fucking for real, okay? Why are the two women of color silver? Especially since women of color typically, not always, but typically, are depicted wearing gold jewelry. Exhibit A. And especially since Jasmine, I think, is the only canonical princess to be dripped out in jewelry 24/7. And she's a gold girlie. You made her ring silver? Oh my god, be so for real. Be so for real with me right now. Ah. And why is Cinderella, silver dress charming, gold? What? And why is Snow White's ring like that? What's with this Minnie Mouse ass fucking bow? What is this? Also silver? For warm tone, vintage girly, yellow skirt, Snow White? Oh my god. Looking at this collection, I am left with so many questions. Mostly, why? And who did this? How could you? Who thought this was okay? And also, I completely understand that they included Snow White because the Snow White film is coming out. I get it. But we can be in agreement that Aurora is a better fit for this collection, bro. Also, if the light gets shifty, I'm so sorry, but it's pouring rain outside and it's really overcast and the clouds are coming and going. I'm sorry. Also, if you hear sounds, it is what it is, alright? Like I said, we're here to chat. And now, personally, I think that every single ring should be offered in both silver and gold. 1, Pandora can afford it, okay? And 2, I think a girlie's favorite Disney princess should be as identifying as someone's Hogwarts house or favorite sports team. It says a lot about a person, and everyone deserves to feel like a princess. Everyone deserves to rep their girlie and have it feel like it represents them as well. That's my 2 cents that you didn't pay for that I'm giving to you for free. I don't know if this is gonna stick, by the way. Also, not me bringing up Hogwarts 2 videos back to back. Oh my god, what the fuck? Now, Belle's ring is offered in both silver and gold. I hear you, I see you. But that's because this ring has been offered up. What? They've been had this ring. There we go. They've been had this ring, okay? I don't know why my brain couldn't comprehend that. Belle's ring is not new to this collection. Neither is Cinderella's or Jasmine's. Yeah. Not only that, but I've actually seen Jasmine's ring be on sale a lot over the past 4 months. So much so I thought that they were discontinuing it. Also partially because they discontinued some other Aladdin charms and jewelry pieces. So I thought the ring was out. So color me surprised when it's like, oh no, our new collection. And I was like, bitch, what? And now, how do I know this? Well, okay, don't judge. But I've been kind of stalking Pandora's website for the past 4 months. I'm not proud of it, but I've been stalking the website because I really want a Pandora's bracelet, okay? I just can't afford one, okay? And also, a fully selfish question here. What is your opinion on a Pandora's bracelet? Because I grew up associating them with, like, rich white girls. You know what I mean? Like the girlies in middle school who were really well off. Like, they had a stay-at-home mom that only wore matching velour tracksuits. They got a charm for every single accomplishment. You could hear them kind of walking down the hall. You know what I mean? And I'm not passing judgment. That just wasn't me in my experience. But so I have that association, right? But now that I want one as a full-grown adult, I feel like a poser. Oh my god. I feel like such a poser. But, like, I want one. I think they're so cute, and I think the charms are so cute. And I'm a gold girly, so, like, I couldn't even have all of them. Ugh. Anyway. I just want your opinion, so just so I can know. Am I the only one who has this association with Pandora bracelets, like, specifically? Anyway, those 3 rings were already a part of Pandora's collection, okay? So that means Rapunzel, Ariel, Tiana, and Snow White are all new to this collection specifically. Or were all added for Valentine's Day specifically. And I would like to know, why is Tiana's ring the only one listed as limited edition? Pandora. She's not the only new one. Like, you have to know how that looks. That right after Valentine's Day, you take off the only black girl in the princess collection. You have to know how that looks if that's the case, right? In grabbing assets, it has also come to my attention that the bell ring in gold is also considered limited edition. I don't know if that's always been the case, because this ring has been around for a while. Like, I remember seeing it in gold even before I was religiously stalking Pandora's page. So, unclear if that was added recently or if that has been around for a while. I just could have missed it, but I don't remember seeing it. So if anyone else knows, like, let me know. Unless Rapunzel, Ariel, and Snow White had come out in the past and I had just never seen them, which is possible. Again, I've only been stalking them for 4 to 6 months. So it's possible, but I hadn't seen them. And also considering I want a Pandora bracelet specifically for a Disney princess charm, you think they'd be on my radar, okay? But what do I know? Nothing. Except to put it in a video, timestamped, so if this does happen, people are aware. That's it. So just keep your eyes out. Is this gonna look good from afar? But like I was saying, back to what I was saying. Belle's ring does come in gold and silver, and it has for a while. So why can't all of them come in gold and silver? And these rings are almost completely sold out. When I started writing this script, the only ones left were Cinderella and Belle, and barely. And I think the only reason why Belle was still around because it had like one size left in either color. You know what I mean? The only one that wasn't sold out was Snow White, which was only sold out in the size 4.5. We'll get to that. But these rings are so obvious, great gifts. Either for your bestie, for your daughter, for your lover. I almost said love interest, like we're in a romance novel. But for your love interest. Like, these are great gifts. But these sold out because people ride for their favorite Disney princess. And these were always going to sell well. And the fact that Belle sold out in both colors just kind of goes to show you that if you had offered it, they also probably would have sold out. Because I know that there are girlies out there who love Rapunzel and are sad that her ring doesn't fit in with their ring stack. And especially since Pandora is the originator of the Princess Crown promise ring. This is right up your alley. You know what you're doing, so there's no excuse for you to be lazy like this, Pandora. There's so much potential here, and I'm saying this as a consumer, not just as, like, someone who likes to talk shit on the internet for fun, which I do. But this one specifically, if I worked at Pandora, do you know how many of these I would fucking sell? So many. Everyone's walking out with a princess ring. I fucked up. Now, we're going to go through these rings individually. We're going to go in line from worst to best, in my opinion, personally, from my little noggin, just because I have a lot more to say about the worst ones. We're going to talk about how well do these rings represent our girlies. We're going to talk about the princess's story and how that affects their aesthetic, like what are they known for. We're going to talk about what the rings did well, what they did awfully. Did I say that? What they did well and what they did poorly? Sure. And we're going to talk about how I would have designed these rings as a Disney princess stan. And I know I said that I believe that these rings should come in both metals, but if, let's say, we had to pick one canon metal tone, we're also going to decide what that metal tone should be for each princess. And then for fun, we're going to rate our princesses on a sparkly scale. Because the more I thought about this, the more I realized, oh yeah, no, some princesses give off more sparkle than others. And we'll talk about that in a second. And then at the very, very end, we're also going to talk about Aurora, Mulan, and Pocahontas, and what their rings might look like, and my thoughts on how those need to be handled. Okay? And feel free this entire time to disagree with me. Put your opinions in the comments. Let me know if you think, oh, she hit that nail on the head. Or, Your Honor, she's flopping. And this video didn't take a lot of research, I'll be completely honest. I really just kind of sat down and wrote my thoughts out and then picked pictures and then did some doodling while watching Pretty Little Liars, okay? So like I said, we're here for a fun time. We are here. So please, feel free to join the conversation. I know the end all be all, I just have a lot of opinions and a camera. Let's start with the obvious worst one, number 7, Snow White. Go whistle while you work. I can't whistle. So, Snow White, Disney's first princess, the first feature film of Disney ever. But because of that, in my opinion, she holds a place of honor amongst the princesses because without her success, none of them would be here. I also would like to mention that there is something called the Snow White rule at Disney parks, which, as the story goes, the first woman to ever place Snow White in the parks realized that there are some children who came to the park who really needed Disney magic. And so she made it a rule for herself that when hugging a child, she would never be the first one to let go. And that to always follow the child's lead in that interaction. Because you never know what kid really needed that hug. And the story goes that that is still the rule that cast members still use today. Is that true? I don't know, but Winnie the Pooh gave me one of the best hugs of my life. So take that information what you will. And I bring that up just to prove Snow White, trendsetter. Trendsetter across the board. I am just going to... I realized I was looking down a lot and you couldn't see me, and I'm hunched over anyway, so we're scooched down a bit. Okay, so story-wise, we all know Snow White. Skin as white as snow, lips as red as blood, hair as dark as ebony. The fairest of them all. Evil stepmother threatened by her beauty, wants to rip her heart out, hires a hitman to kill this 14-year-old girl, to rip her heart out and to bring it back in a pretty decorative box. Alright? The huntsman can't bring himself to do it because, again, a 14-year-old child is just begging not to be killed. I don't think that's controversial to say. But he can't do it. She's let go and then she's adopted by 7 strangers because she is the first person to show them kindness and to treat them like people. Evil Queen realizes that Snow White is alive and won't take no for an answer. Decides to take matters into her own hands. Poisons the girl with a poison apple. The dwarves put her in a sleeve protector, and then unnamed prince enters stage left, saves her with true love's kiss, happily ever after. Or the dwarves save her with their charcoal-infused touch via cross-contamination, if you believe game theory, which I do. And so for the ring, we have a silver ring with a red enamel bow with a center fuchsia rose man-made crystal and a band of cubic zirconia. Disgusting. Not the cubic zirconia, the ring itself. I think this is atrocious. And not only is this the worst selling ring of the bunch, I also think it's the worst designed ring of the bunch. It's so poorly designed that it actually confuses the marketing for the collection as a whole, which is just impressive by itself. Like, one of them so bad it confuses the rest? Jesus. It's so incredibly juvenile, which unfortunately is proven by the fact that only the smallest size sold out. People weren't buying this for their girlfriends, people were buying it for their daughters. little daughters, because the 4.5 is small. That's a small ring. And it's shocking because this past year, there has been a trend of bows in jewelry, right? So much so that Pandora released for their holiday collection, like, a bow series. And that one was, like, kind of cute. It wasn't as atrocious as this guy. It was a little more demure, a little more cutesy. And it was still juvenile, but it wasn't bad the way this one is. And I think the reason why it feels so young is because of the Minnie Mouse ass bow. Like, why is that? Oh my god. Okay. It's so cartoony and it's so bright. And if you look up bow jewelry, they come off as sophisticated when they have really floppy, unstructured bows. So when you look at them, you don't immediately go, bow. You go, oh, shape. You know what I mean? But you look at it and you go, oh, it's a bow. It's cute. It's youthful. Not juvenile. There's a difference. Now, does it fit the character? On the surface. Because yes, she does wear her little bow in her hair, and it's an iconic part of her silhouette. But I don't think that it's the most iconic part, in my opinion. Personally, I think the slashes on her sleeve, like she has the blue sleeve with the 3 red slashes, I think that and the yellow skirt are more iconic parts of her character. Yellow, blue, and just little hints of red. That's what reads Snow White, in my opinion. And honestly, with this design, it feels like they picked the bow because it's on her head, and that's where her crown goes. Be so fucking for real. On the other hand, does the bow capture her sweet childlike nature and her innocence at being 14? Yes, but that's not... How can I say this? It's not the most important part about Snow White is her innocence. It just, I don't know, something about that feels gross. Like, I think the point of Snow White is very similar to that of Cinderella, where it's a story of facing a really cruel world with love and a smile and staying in your own goddamn lane. I think people forget that there's strength and gentleness and courage in love. Because literally, she survives the story because when she gets her shit rocked, she stays kind, like the dwarves. She asks, can she stay with the dwarves? And offers them her manual labor as a thank you. She doesn't clean because she's a girlie. She cleans because it's the right thing to do to offer compensation for staying at someone's house. And I think if she was naive, then she wouldn't have offered that. She would have just asked to stay and then stayed. And is she a little too comfortable making herself comfortable in someone's house? Yes. But she's polite, you know? Not only that, but she basically starts the movie off as a servant. Her evil stepmother is crazy. She doesn't want her to be treated like a princess. So, our girlie, a humble queen. From the beginning. And then a prince comes in because don't forget this movie is from the 30s, okay? But that's another conversation for another day. So the idea of having this sweet, little innocent bow as her symbol, it makes sense if you didn't watch the movie with any sort of critical thinking cap on and only assume that her naivete is the important part, right? And I don't think the bow is a bad symbol. Let me get that straight. I just think if you're gonna do the bow, you need to elevate it so there's a little more nuance to it and it's not just little girl. Like, she's the first Disney princess. Put some fucking respect on her name, okay? And don't reuse the fuck ass Minnie Mouse bow for her. At least make an original bow. And you cannot tell me this is not Minnie's bow because the silhouette of Minnie's bow has the little divot in the middle. Either whether it's really cartoony, it's really tall on top and a divot and then the little small part, or what, but she always has that divot. Snow White's bow does not have that. Snow White's bow looks almost like a butterfly. It's the circle and then it's fully rounded on the side. So you put enough thought into the design to make it look plushy and cartoony, but not enough thought into the design to make it look like Snow White's bow. Be so fucking for real with me. Also, having the fuchsia in the middle so close to red that it looks like you just made a mistake. Oh my god. At least make it all red. Also, fuchsia? When is she associated with fuchsia? When? Tell me. Show me, because I've never seen it. Ever. In my life. So, redesign. We are sticking with the bow. We're sticking with the bow. We're sticking with Snow White's bow. Okay? It's going to be much more rounded and more akin to that butterfly shape. But what we're going to use is 3 marquee-shaped pieces of something. The bow here is enamel, so we can make it enamel. I think that adds to Snow White still being a little more juvenile than the other ladies. Having her piece be enamel with one stone or with little stones versus the other girls who have big stones, right? Thinking of the collection as a whole. So, 3 marquee shade pieces of enamel, and the center being a red stone, not fuchsia. But to make sure that we keep the shape of the bow, we're going to fill in on either side of the marquee shaped pieces of enamel with tiny little blue cubic zirconia stones to pay homage to her sleeves, which again are more iconic than her bow in my opinion, but also to bring in more of her color scheme, because I think her color scheme is more what she's known for than any shape in particular. Also, now, because it's not this cartoony 3D bow, now it looks a little bit more like the shape of a crown, if you squint and take a few steps back. And of course, the metal color is gold, to mimic the color of her dress. I feel like that one's obvious. Also, instead of doing cubic zirconia all around the band, we're going to do 7 cubic zirconia on either side. Does that make a total of 14? Yes, but if I had done 3 and 4 on either side, it would drive people insane. People would assume it's a mistake and that they're missing a stone if we did that. Also, we're gonna pick engravings for these rings, mostly because I think it'll be fun. I think it's a fun little detail that if the original rings included, I think people would have loved, right? I know you can engrave the inside because the inside is engraved with Pandora A925 or A whatever the gold one is. So, you can't tell me it's not possible. Also, I think engraving these, it's not only fun, but these rings are so obviously meant to be gifts. We want our person to feel uplifted and loved whenever they wear our ring, right? Especially since we're working under the pretenses that this is a Valentine's Day specific collection, okay? We want our person to feel so fucking special when they open that package. Whether it's infused with love or a positive affirmation, there needs to be a little touch. A little sprinkling of magic, if you will. I think for Snow White's ring, it should say, "With a smile and a song," which is the title of the song that she sings right after she escapes the huntsman. And she's making the best out of bad situations where she meets all the animal friends for the first time. It includes the lyric, "Remember, you're the only one who can fill the world with sunshine when you smile and you sing." Protect Snow White. She's a baby. Oh my god. Now, why are we keeping the bow? The pièce de résistance. Still made of enamel instead of making it out of stone. Because our girl sits at 6 out of 7 on the sparkly scale. Now, what is a sparkly scale? Well, it is a scale, a ranking system, if you will, to see where our girlie would fall and how sparkly she would be if she was dressing herself for a special occasion. Right? How sparkly would she be to need to feel like herself? For our girl Snow, a humble queen that she is, I think she would be much more demure with her sparkle, thus putting her at 6 out of 7. Because I think, since she is younger, she would feel pretty in most dresses. Like, if she can twirl, she's happy, you know? I think because of her age and her nature, she would be drawn to sparkle, okay? But she doesn't need the sparkliest dress around. She feels more like herself where she can frolic and have a fun time with her friends. She's a sweetie pie. So, 6 out of 7. So, what do you think? Did you think I nailed it? Do you think I did a decent job? I would like to take this moment to note that I am not a jewelry designer in the slightest, so I'm sure that there are better ways to put my ideas into words, to put my ideas on paper, if you will. But I don't know how to do that. So you get my little drawings instead. I'm just trying to convey some thoughts and opinions and paint a candle. Alright? But on to our next girlie, number 6, Ariel. Part of your world. Yeah, I think that's how that goes. Put down your tridents. I know. I hear you. People ride or die for Ariel. They love her. And I think it's because a lot of people resonate with her and her wanting to escape and having overbearing parents and wanting a bigger life for herself that she sees herself, not for a role that's been played out for her, you know? I think a lot of teenagers deal with that feeling of suffocation, so I get it. Is she a little misguided? Does she make a wrong deal? Yes, but she's 16. Let her live, okay? We all make silly mistakes like that. That's how we learn. That's how we grow. Oh, that's so much better. I should have been doing that from the beginning. Okay, Little Mermaid. We know her. We love her. But let's do a quick refresh on the story anyway, in case anyone here is out of the loop. Ariel is a mermaid princess from the kingdom of Atlantis. She yearns for the world above, and despite her father's warnings, she still ventures to the surface, falls in love with the prince after seeing him save a dog. Me too, bestie, me too. She fights her father over her infatuation with the human world. She makes a deal with the sea witch to trade her voice for a 3-day timer to make mystery man fall in love with her. The confidence can't relate. Or else she loses her voice and her chance for a human life forever. Tale as old as time, she misses her deadline, as we all do, and she ends up having to fight the sea witch to save her mans anyway. And she does. And then once her father sees that, oh no, they are in love. Oh no, this is good for her. Oh, maybe she is grown. They fought for each other. He makes her human himself, and he has to give away his baby girl. And they live happily ever after, and now she is the queen of a small coastal kingdom. Ariel. So, we have a sterling silver ring inspired by Disney's Ariel. A unique open-work seashell design showcasing... A unique open-work seashell design... Do I know how to read? A unique open-work seashell design showcases a white, treated freshwater cultured pearl at its center. I feel like there needs to be a comma in there somewhere. A channel of stones along the wishbone-shaped band shimmer with light, recalling sunshine on ocean waves. Wear it as a symbol of Ariel's journey and the transformative power of being true to yourself. I can't get over that the website just says stones. It doesn't say what kind. Because they look iridescent unlike the other rings, which I think is actually a really cool detail. The other ones just have pure white cubic zirconium. And I actually really like a lot of aspects of this ring. And I really only ranked it so low because the pearl looks like it's just super glued on. And honestly, there's a number of reviews saying that the pearl has popped off already, which is really unfortunate. Because when I say that this ring is new, you know I smell well. Sorry. To say this ring is new is an understatement. Like, there's only a handful of reviews because only a handful of people have gotten them. And for so many of them to say that the pearl's already popped off is really sad. You can't even have been wearing it that long. Like, I feel like people have only worn it for a couple days. Anyway, I like a lot of aspects about this ring. Ariel is adventurous. She's sure of herself. She's playful. And most of all, she's a lover girl. Like, she just is. And so something about the open work seashell feels very playful to me. And I love that we have this big pearl, big being relative, this pearl in the center. It feels classy, but youthful. But that also might be because it looks like an egg, but that's neither here nor there. Ironically, Ariel does have a crown, but I will give it to them. It's a very generic shaped crown. And it's kind of similar to Aurora, so I can understand why they didn't use it, but that doesn't mean that we can't. Our girl canonically is royalty from beginning to end. She goes magical mermaid ocean princess to semi-magical coastal kingdom queen. She deserves a crown, okay? And I'll be completely honest, this ring took me way too long to figure out. I knew I wanted to keep the pearl, and I knew I wanted to really lean into that chevron shape, so it took me a few tries. But figure it out, I did. And I wanted to exaggerate the chevron shape. They say wishbone, I'm saying chevron because we're making it pointy and longer. But I want to exaggerate the chevron shape for a couple of reasons. One, it mimics the waves, which I think is a very clever way to incorporate more ocean iconography into the ring. And two, it does genuinely mimic her crown, no matter how generic a shape that really is. And once I realized how long that needed to be, the rest of the design really fell into place. So we have the pearl, it's a little bit lower, just so we can add a couple more iridescent stones just at that peak for extra sparkle. And we're keeping the open work seashell designs, but now they're on the side of the pearl, kind of cradling it to secure it in, to make the entire thing look a little more sturdy and feel a little more sturdy. And also, it really just adds to that crown shape. And I know having it be almost like gravity defying feels more playful and more magical, but it's going to be given to a girlie as a promise ring. Let's give her the best shot around, you know? And we're also keeping the iridescent stones all the way around the band. And if there's any negative spaces, more iridescent stones. Just shove it in there because our girl is number one on the sparkly scale. Not only is this girlie born and raised in a magic royal family, But her home is the sparkly, twinkly ocean. She feels the most herself when she is decked out in dazzles, in sparkles. And she is unapologetic about it, as she should be. And this one is obviously set in silver. Not only because ocean, water, blue, but also because of this dress. The best dress in the movie. This ring should bring to mind that final triumphant moment in the movie where she walks out of the ocean and she is dripping in sea sparkle. Magic! This scene is iconic. And it is a crime that this was not included in the live action movie. Like, even the fact, like, because she comes and finds him on the palace steps, whatever, they didn't want to swim at the beach, sure. Have her walk... He's on the steps. Have her walk down the stairs, bathed in light, sparkling. Consider. Sorry, I have a lot of feelings about this. It's so important. She is magic. She is magic. She is playful. She is fun. The ocean is fun in that way. It tosses and turns and it has all these colors and it's pretty. Like, let her mimic that. Let her be sparkly. Anyway. As for the engraving, I have two options. I have Watch and You'll See and Part of Your World. Obviously, Part of Your World, it's more iconic, it's more romantic, but I think Watch and You'll See, I think it's more inspiring. And again, we working under the assumption we want our girl to feel empowered. We want our girlie to feel magical when she puts on her ring. I think Watch and You'll See is a good option. But it's Valentine's Day. We're going with Part of Your World. And also, it's smarter for marketing purposes. And we're thinking of these as promise rings. So, Part of Your World wins. So, that's the design. Next. No matter how much it hurts my heart, it's Cinderella. Cinderella. Oh, wait. A dream is a wish your heart makes when you're fast asleep. Sorry. Anyway, Queen of My Heart. I didn't realize how much I love Cinderella until I did that Descendants movie. Yes, I am wearing the same sweater from that Descendants movie. We're not talking about it. But I didn't realize how much I loved her until that movie, and I had to give it so much thought, and I had to look at Cinderella in so many different versions. And oh my god, I love her so much. I love my girl. She just wanted a night off. Something we're all entitled to in this cruel world. And a lot of people love to forget that Cinderella never once did a man cross her mind. Yes, she was enamored with the idea of a happily ever after. But I think that's just considered a coping mechanism when you're actively being abused. So, Cinderella. She's a young woman. She lost her mother. Beautiful soul. Treated the world with kindness wherever she went. Her father remarried an evil stepmother. Evil stepmother hated Cinderella, and then her father also died, so Cinderella is now the servant of said evil stepmother in her childhood home. The way I would not be able to cope with that, but she took it with a smile. She tried her best to remain optimistic and kind in the face of abuse, and I think that she was too kind to these people, but I have my thoughts that I will save for another day. Like, she's literally treated like trash. Like, the story goes that her name is Ella, but they call her Cinderella because she's always covered in dirt and cinders from having to clean out their fireplaces. Insane bullying behavior. Jail. So, one day, the local king creates a ball in honor of the prince because the king is old, scared prince is gonna die alone, invites every bachelorette in town in hopes to get her son's dick wet. Cindy is forbidden to go for no reason other than fuck you, Cinderella. But fairy godmother appears, gives her a makeover. She gets a makeover, she gets a ride, she gets to go to a party. She has to be home by midnight. The prince loves her. She runs away. He loves her more. She barely makes it home. And then the prince spends forever trying to find her using the glass slipper she left behind. Bada bing, bada boom, happily ever after, okay? And in my heart, they stay happily ever after. And they're throwing parties left, right, and center. They dance, they throw balls, they go to strolls about town. I love them. Oh my god. Cinderella is a story about hope. It's about hope and wishing on stars and a strength that disguises itself as gentleness. Again, very akin to Snow White. And a lot of people love to shit on earlier princesses, like Cindy, because they only wanted a man. A man had to come and save her. Get an original thought. Consider. Personally, I think that's really reductive and really anti-femininity, right? Rejecting things that are feminine on the basis of them being feminine. Because Cinderella is the girly pop princess. She just wanted to go out and party. She just wanted to be included like everyone else. She didn't want to go to marry the prince. That wasn't her thought. She was like, I just would like to go and see what it's like. You guys get to go. You guys get to dress up. I want to do that. And there is nothing wrong with that. And if anything, she got a man because she was being herself and having a good time. So go, be yourself, have a good time. Be the weird girl dancing in the corner. You'll find your man. It's like a mating call. Men love to show up when you're having a good time and insert themselves wherever they can. So, like... Anyway, I really like this ring. As a gold girly, I like that it's gold. Ah! I don't have jewelry on! Oh, I'm an idiot! Don't look at my sweatpants. I'm stuck. I need one more, but I don't have one more. Do I have one more? Sorry, this took like a really weird turn. What was I saying? Oh, yeah, no, I'm a gold girly, as you can see. I'm a gold girly and a Cinderella stan, and even I know that this ring is wrong. Like, Cinderella is the silver queen. And I know, when I say Cinderella, you think of her in blue. And you see, that is simply because Disney wants you to think of her in blue. Over the years, Disney has altered her dress in the remastered version. You know what? Good enough. They've changed out her dress in the remastered version and in all of the marketing to make it bluer and bluer and bluer over the years. So when she stood with all the other princesses, it was a nice cohesive... Embarrassing correction. So sorry. So there are more than 10 Disney princesses. I'm stupid. So in my mind, I didn't count Moana because she's a chief, right? Not a princess. The same way that I don't count Elsa and Anna because they're Disney queens, not princesses. So I just forgot to count Moana. Anna and Elsa genuinely don't count. They were in a separate category because of how successful Frozen is as a franchise. Moana completely shoved her in that same category as Chief. My bad. I'm so sorry. That's my mistake. As for Merida, didn't even cross my mind. I'm sorry. She just didn't cross my mind. She is a Disney princess. My bad. And I think Raya is also a Disney princess. I don't know. I haven't seen that movie. Is it good? It came out at a rough time for me, so I just missed it. Let me know. Okay, that's the end of the correction corner. Okay, bye. Theme. Everyone's a similar tone. Everyone has an iconic color. Everyone looks different. So little girls can walk up and go, I want that one. I like that one more. And everyone has their princess to point and pick. Right? But originally, her dress is thought to have been silver. Which is kind of like Ariel now that I think about it, which I think is fitting, given both dresses are made of magic. I like to think while Ariel's is made of sea shimmer, Cinderella's is made of stardust. And I hope you're on that page with me. And personally, I actually associate Cinderella with a motif of stars the most out of all the Disney princesses. One, because of this transformation sequence, and two, she has to run away at midnight. So I personally wish that stars were more incorporated into her design, her ring design, but that's why we're here, right? Because see, I love the carriage on this. I love that it's delicate. I love that the wheels actually loop around the ring. I think it's a really fun detail. I think the filigree is a right level of fancy and mature for Cinderella because she is mature. I think Cinderella is the mom friend of the group, in my opinion. Talk to the wall. She really handles all of her grief with the grace of someone with much more life experience. Because she's, 18? 17? Maybe 16? I don't know. But she always has this mentality that bad times will pass. We're getting through it now, but bad times pass. There's always a happy ending. And I love that mentality. And I wish we got more filigree and more sparkle for her design. Because, one, this maturity level, but two, Cinderella has like a delicateness to her. And again, that strength that disguises itself as gentleness. She's not going to break anytime soon, but she's absolutely like dancing in the wind. She's a sweet girlie. And she is strong because she is flexible, I guess is the best way to put it. And so having more of that looping, swirly, fancy filigree design really leans into that effect, this flexibility that she has. And not just that, but aesthetically with the times, she gets the happily ever after of happily ever after. She gets Prince Charming. No one else gets Prince Charming. Other people have Adam and Eric. She has Prince Charming. Like, come on. And so for this design, I'm adding more filigree, more sparkle, to really lean into that, like, midnight twilight effect on top of turning the ring to silver. I think we want something that looks soft, which is hard to do in metal. But we're thinking soft and sparkly. Because our girl, she loves a good sparkle. She's ranked number 4 out of 7 on our sparkle list. She is right down the middle. Because I don't think that she would feel more or less like herself, whether sparkles were involved or not. Right? Follow me on this. I think at the end of her story, especially, she's very confident in herself, and who she is, and I think she associates sparkles with the night that changed her life, so she's very fond of them in that way, but she doesn't need them to feel like herself. So she goes right down the middle of the list. And the only reason why Cinderella is so far down on our list is because it is atrocious that this ring is done in gold when the rest of the collection is in silver. There's a matching earring set, there's a matching necklace, there's a Cinderella Pandora bracelet that has the carriage as the clasp, all done in silver. But they're the matching set, they have the same design. What is going on? Who did that? Who thought that was a good idea? Like, that is diabolical. And again, I love this ring. This Cinderella charm, which again is the gold Cinderella charm, is the reason that got me looking into Pandora bracelets to begin with. But this ring and this charm do not match. They are not the set. The ring matches with everything else. But it doesn't, because what? Oh my god. I love Cinderella. I do. Who did this to my girl? And again, this ring was already around. It wasn't made for this collection, so it's not like, oh, well, we need to have a balance of silver and gold to fill out the collection. No, this was already there. You know what you could have done? Do a limited edition silver version for Valentine's Day. I would still hate it, but at least you fixed it. You know what I mean? At least in some degree. Because it's diabolical. It's diabolical. Who's in charge? Oh my god. Ugh. Next. No. The next 2 princesses are tied for 3rd place. Yes, I'm still working on the same candle and we're halfway through this. Oh my god. I have to speed up. But the next 2 princesses, they're tied for 3rd place because they both have essentially the same issue wrong with them. But in different ways. Like, they're both so stinking close, but no cigar. And that's Jasmine and Rapunzel. And I'm going to put Jasmine lower, so we're going to talk about her next. A whole new world. Was that flat? I think so. I'm putting her lower on the list because they had a chance to fix it and then chose not to because, again, her ring has been out longer. You could have done the limited edition gold drop and then had the silver, whatever stock you did have. Just, oh, it sold out quickly. You know what I mean? Especially since over the past few months, I have seen this ring specifically go on sale so often I thought that they were discontinuing it. And that is saying something because, again, half the rings are not new to the collection. So Belle's ring never went on sale. So why is Jasmine's? And the description is also stinky. So, celebrate the 30th anniversary of Disney's classic, Aladdin, with pieces inspired by the brave and self-assured Princess Jasmine. Crafted from sterling silver, this stackable ring features an oval, moonlight, blue, man-made crystal at its center, surrounded with icy blue, man-made crystals, referencing Princess Jasmine's characteristic teal, blue, color. Make your own wishes come true and layer this sterling silver ring into your everyday favorites to let your bravery shine for all to see, or gift it to an Aladdin fan and make their jewelry into a whole new world. How many times are you gonna fucking tell me blue? I get it. I will say this is the first description that didn't feel like AI to me, just putting that out there. I don't know if that's the case. I'm not checking. I'm painting a candle. But who the fuck thought it would be a good idea to have the brown girl who is decked out in gold jewelry 24/7, even when it's not appropriate to do so, be represented by a fucking silver ring? Jail. Oh my god. The fucking disrespect. And I am like 90% sure that Jasmine is the only Disney princess to canonically wear jewelry all the time. She always got jewelry on. She always has her headband on. She always has her earrings, her big ass gold earrings, her big ass gold necklace. Ugh. Buddy. And I will agree with the description for this one thing. She for sure is brave and self-assured. And I do think that this ring reflects that with the structure. Like, you look at this bitch and, oh, she's solid. She's sturdy. She's pretty, but she's sturdy. And I really like that. Like, I really like the design of this ring. And honestly, I don't think I could redesign it better. It's really beautiful. It captures her tiara beautifully. But silver? Oh my god. Recap time. So, Jasmine, Princess of Agrabah, wants to be Sultan. She can't because she's a woman. They need her married. She's pissed off about it. She yearns for something outside of the world that she knows because she's basically under house arrest her entire life because her dad has anxiety. And I will say that I appreciate the change that the live action made. Or not even change, but something that they solidified in the canon is that part of the reason why she wants more agency is because she wants to take over as Sultan. Because I don't think that's solidified in the animated movie. I think that's more, I'm not a prize to be won type energy that we're dealing with, right? But I really appreciate her really wanting to be Sultan, learning about her people who are counting on her, who need her to be a leader, and wanting to take up that leadership. I think that makes a lot of sense for our girl Jasmine. Also, Aladdin, he's made to be a house husband. You cannot tell me different. He wants nothing more than for his girl to be safe and protected, and he does not give a shit about being Sultan. He doesn't. Now, Jasmine is associated with the moon and the stars for two different reasons. One, the movie opens up with Arabian night, like Arabian day. And two, the song A Whole New World, where they fly through the stars. And I understand the wanting to associate Jasmine with this, and the imagery of a night sky in a desert being something like nothing else. I understand that. Personally, I associate her more with the caged bird, tigers, and jasmine flowers. A lot of things that are much more vivacious than just the night sky. And because of the live action, I do actually associate her with peacock feathers as well. I think that she's an incredibly vibrant character, and so reducing her iconography to just being associated with her romantic moments in the stars and a song that has nothing to do with her feels very reductive to her as a character, personally. But, that being said, I don't think the motifs that I listed make sense on a ring, and I get that. Not in any way that I could do for it to still capture Jasmine. You know what I mean? I don't have the talent to do that. So, I wanted to just put that out there. I am going to redesign the ring. I'm sure you're seeing a recording of it, or you're going to see a picture of it in a second here. But I do want it to be known that I actually really like this ring, and I don't think I could improve upon it in a very significant way. And really, the two biggest changes that I would make is, one, make it fucking gold, obviously, and two, give it a real fucking stone. What is this epoxy-ass looking motherfucking thing in there anyway? What is that? Why is that there? Also, I've looked up videos, since writing the script, I've looked up videos of this ring on people's hands, right? Because it's pretty, and I'm like, oh, I want to see it move. I did that for a lot of these rings. Unfortunately, some of them were too new, and I couldn't watch any video of them in person on someone's hand. But this epoxy-ass looking stone looks so bad in person. Because it's clear on the back. There's no backing to it. It's just up against your skin. And so, especially if you have any melanin in your skin, it's just gonna look murky. Especially because it's not a real stone, so that there's no facets on it. It's not catching the light in any way. It's just smooth. And I understand why you did that because of her tiara. It has this beautiful smooth stone. I get that. But our girl, you think Jasmine, our Jasmine, rich girl with ironclad standards, you think she is going to settle for this epoxy-ass looking man-made stone? Be so fucking for real. She should have a bright teal, multifaceted, sparkly, twinkly, winkly little stone. Not little, big stone. In her ring. She is 2 on her sparkly scale. She loves to be dripped out in sparkle. She feels gorgeous. She feels powerful. She embraces her femininity as a weapon. She knows she's pretty, and she's not afraid to use it against you. Jasmine's the type of girl to walk into a courtroom in stilettos just to hear the fucking clack. Do better, Pandora. Now onto our girl Punzi. Another fan favorite. And at last I see the light. Light! I'm going insane. Tangled was the last Disney princess movie, period. But this movie was an instant classic. People adore this movie. People adore Rapunzel. And I'm pretty sure that this ring was the first to sell out. And I called it. The second I saw Rapunzel's ring and the second I saw Tiana's ring, I was like, those two are going to be the first to sell out. They're stunning. And they're crowns. They're actual crowns. In case you forgot that these princess rings are meant to be their crowns. Because I forgot for a while. But, like, that's literally Pandora's whole thing. Is the crown princess promise rings. Now, Tangled, I don't think I need to remind you on the story of this one, but I will very quickly. Tangled is the story of Rapunzel. She's a princess. She's stolen. She's hidden away. But in our movie, the twist in this one is that she doesn't know she's a princess. She just has magic hair that glows when she sings, and she thinks that's normal. Her mother drank a magic flower when she was pregnant. Baby came out magic. Magic baby stolen. And hidden away. Also, not a prince. The man who comes to find her is a thief who is simply there because he needs a place to hide. Literally after stealing her crown. So he helps her escape her abusive mother and fulfill her free spirit tendencies of rolling in the grass and, unbeknownst to her, finding her way home to her real family. And the only reason that this ring, tied with Jasmine, is because it's fucking pink! What? Oh my god! And that's not as diabolical as Jasmine's ring being silver, but it's pretty fucking close. Because Rapunzel is the purple princess. Her dress is purple. Her kingdom is purple. Her artwork is purple. Not only that, she has to be purple, because you know how we talked about the marketing of the princesses as a whole? Aurora is blonde and pink. So Rapunzel has to be blonde and purple. So they're different. That's the whole point of the Disney Princess line collection. And that's the reason why we see Mulan, Cinderella, and Ariel all have variations on outfits that we do not see in their movie. It's for marketing purposes. Oh my god. And that's also why we never see Aurora in her blue dress, because Cinderella is blonde and blue. And so Cinderella's blonde and blue, Aurora has to be blonde and pink, and so Rapunzel has to be blonde and purple. It's really not that big a deal, but I don't like being sold half-ass shit. I really don't. Description reads, be brave, like Disney's Rapunzel. Our Disney Princess Rapunzel's tiara ring captures the essence of adventure with its enchanting design, crafted from warm 24K gold plating. It features 3 light purple pear stones with swirling openwork details and a clear pave sparkling along the band. Wear it to embody Rapunzel's courage, creativity, and adventurous spirit. And then you scroll down and look at the color description, and it says fucking pink. Pandora, how are you this lazy? I'm going to riot! Now, the only logical reason that I think that this ring is pink and not a deeper purple is because they want to eventually do Aurora's ring, maybe with alexandrite. A stone that can flip between pink and blue. But that means half the time it just looks purple. So that means that they would literally just be flipping the colors, and for why? For why? Just let Aurora be pink. Oh my god. And we will come back to Aurora, don't you worry. I have so many thoughts. And now, my original thoughts for this ring were that the pear-shaped stones were 2 up and down. So just kind of like 3 lines. But, again, upon seeing it on people's hands, the shape of the stones does actually taper to a point like the traditional crown does. So I will say the silhouette on this ring is correct. It's correct. It's iconic. You look at it, oh, that is Rapunzel's crown. Because Rapunzel, the crown is a huge part of her story. Do I think it's a huge part of her iconography? No. I think Rapunzel is much more associated with the vibrant lily that gives her powers, or the sun, which is the symbol of the kingdom of Corona. And a lot of people, I saw this critique online, a lot of people are like, why the fuck is the sun not included? That is her whole thing, and that's true. And that's why iconography is so important, is that's what people resonate with, that's what people want. Now, how I would design this ring is not that different, I'll be completely honest with you. I don't think there are huge sweeping changes that need to be changed in order for this to be a good ring, quote unquote, because I do think it's a good ring. I do think it's quite pretty. She's cute from afar. Okay. I have my other one. Like I said, I do think that they nailed it with the silhouette. I would make the stones purple. And I will say I do have this critique of this ring collection as a whole. The fact that the stones are just man-made stones. Stones. A stone, I promise. Like, but the only actual stone listed is cubic zirconia. Not even, like, man-made garnet, man-made ruby, man-made, you know what I mean? Or even colored cubic zirconia. Just stone. Sure. But I would change these stones to either be a purple man-made stone, still multifaceted. Also, don't think I didn't realize that these are also listed as stones, but they're multifaceted, but the ones for Tiana and Jasmine that are also stones are not multifaceted, and so they're just smooth and look like epoxy. Don't think I didn't clock that. Anyway, I would make these stones either man-made amethyst. Again, I don't know the, like, financially, what the price for this needs to be. Like, the manufacturing cost, I don't know what that needs to be. So I'm going to say man-made amethyst, but man-made stone is fine as long as it's still multifaceted, okay? The point is it needs to be dark purple. Okay? And not only that, but I think at the base of the crown, we can make that a sunrise and incorporate that sun iconography. Because the crown, if we think about the character of Rapunzel and the journey that she goes on through her movie, she's not on her way to be princess. She finds her way into being a princess, and she finds her way to the crown, but that's not what she's searching for. She's searching for her dream. She's searching for the lanterns. She's searching for the light at the end of the tunnel. The sunrise after this horrible night that she's been in. The sun is a huge part of that. The climax of the movie is her sun rising for this new day, this new life that she has just started. So I think the sun is very important. All this to say. And at last I see the light. Light, as they say. Light! I'm going insane. So anyway, I think that the sun should be incorporated. It should be a sunrise. Just incorporate the base of her crown and be purple, and that's really it. Everything else I think is pretty much fine. As for an engraving, I think I got two for you. You Are My New Dream, which is the romantic version. And then as for, like, the inspiring engraving, I think I'm Where I'm Meant to Be would be a really good one. And I think that saying is slept on. It's from the movie. Look it up. Sorry. But You Are My New Dream, again, we're working under Valentine's Day restrictions. It makes a lot of sense. It's a very romantic line. And if I got that engraved in a ring, I'd lose my mind. I don't think I said, oh my god! I don't think I said what the other engravings would be. So sorry. We have to go all the way back to Cinderella. I'm so sorry. So for Cinderella, the ring should be engraved, So This Is Love. I didn't have one for, like, an inspirational one. Just because they're too long. Like, A Dream Is a Wish Your Heart Makes is way too long. So This Is Love is the obvious choice. Also, that's what I want engraved on my engagement ring, personally. And as for Jasmine, so for Jasmine, A Whole New World and Let Your Heart Decide are the two engraving choices that I had. I think A Whole New World is the obvious winner. But yeah, I'm Where I'm Meant to Be. I think that's a slept-on line, personally. I say as I'm someone who owns a sweater that says that. Should I have worn it? I'm not getting it out of the closet. You can't make me. But, like, imagine wearing a ring that reminds you of your favorite princess, that makes you feel like a boss-ass bitch whenever you look at it, and then you take it off, and on the inside it says, I'm where I'm meant to be. Oh, iconic. Oh, I could go into any meeting and I'd kick a bitch in the throat. I don't know why I'm so aggressive in this video. Oh, well. Oh, I didn't say. Rapunzel, she's gold. She's a golden girly. The golden sun, golden purple, she's a golden girly. But on the sparkly scale, Rapunzel, our girly, comes in dead last. She is 7 out of 7. But she's an artist, I hear you shout through the screen. I hear you. It's okay. She is. And that's why I think that she would have a lot, if she was dressing herself, if she had all the dresses in the world to pick from, anything she could imagine, that would be brought to her because she's a princess. If she had that power and she was dressing herself for a special occasion, I think that she would play a lot with texture and color, and if she was to come across a shimmery organza that changed color in the light, she would pick that over a basic pink sparkly dress, right? She would play a lot with pattern and color and texture, way more than the other girls would. I think she would have a much bigger hand in designing her wardrobe. And again, she's on the scale, so she's still a sparkly girl. She still loves a good sparkle, shimmer, shiny, and Eugene loves to give her sparkly things because they make her happy. Like, I just love the idea of her painting out this dress that she has in her mind of, I want to do this, I want to do that, and sending it off and having it returned and having her vision come to life. I think that she would love that, right? So, that's our girly. Next, number 2. We're so close to being done, and I'm only now on candle 2. Oh my god. I got distracted. Number 2, Belle. She's so peculiar. Now, Belle is ranked this highly for a few different reasons. Partially because she already comes in both silver and gold, but also a rose ring is timeless. And also, Belle doesn't have a crown to my knowledge. We've never seen her in a crown. And I think a rose is a wonderful alternative for the character of Belle. Also, I almost wanted to rate her lower because a rose ring is not super unique and original, but in a weird way, I think that's also what makes it feel timeless, and Beauty and the Beast is a movie and a story that feels very timeless. So it really works. It really works, okay? It works for me. Also, she just gives rose, doesn't she? Beautiful, timeless, elegance. But also you gotta prick a bitch sometimes. You gotta have thorns. That's Belle. The description of the ring reads, be transported into a magical world with the Disney Beauty and the Beast rose ring, inspired by the enchanted rose from the movie. The ring features a red cubic zirconia stone rose in the center of the band, surrounded by openwork leaves and carved branches along with 3 smaller red stones, celebrating the imperfect but magical love between Disney's Belle and the Beast. The ring makes an elegant, whimsical addition to any look. Who's calling me? Go away. So, imperfect but magical love between Belle and the Beast is, like, kind of a wild thing to say, if I'm being, like, really frank with you. It kind of makes it sound like he abuses her, and we all just kind of look the other way because he's a good man, Savannah. But okay. But that's just, like, not the case in the movie at all. And, like, people love to call this movie Stockholm Syndrome the movie, and I disagree. Again, get original thought. Belle is a strong, independent woman with her own thoughts and own feelings, so much so that it gets her in trouble because everyone else hates that she has her own thoughts and feelings. Like, they hate her because she's a weird girl. And that's why she's the poster child for weird girls everywhere. And that's what makes the movie work. Belle stands up for herself, and Beast goes, I don't know what to do with that. And then he has to learn what to do with that. That's it. She tells him to his face, you're being rude. Stop it. And he goes, oh, shit, you're right. My bad. I guess I am being rude. Like, Belle doesn't change the Beast, nor does she change for the Beast. And yes, I know his name is Adam, but ew. We can all agree he's hotter in his beast form, and when he turned back into his non-beast form, he should have had dark hair and a beard. We fall in love with him as a beast. Why are you now just showing me generic white man number 4? God. At least make him interesting. And I will die on this hill that he should have had long hair and a beard. Recap time. Beast kidnaps Belle's dad because he's in the forest when he shouldn't be. Belle loves her father, takes his place. Now she's prisoner. Belle takes his place, becomes friends with all the appliances, and friends with the Beast eventually. Series of unfortunate events. They fall in love, they nerf him at the end of the story, happily ever after the end. The important part is that Belle never tries to change the Beast. I know I've said it 3 times. She offers him grace and patience to learn and grow, but she does not actively tell him, this is what you need to do, this is how you should be better, this is what you need to work on. That never happens. She doesn't tame the Beast, which is what a lot of people love to latch on to. Oh, I tamed him. Oh, I tamed the Beast. Oh, this. Oh, that. I don't want a man I have to fucking tame. I want a partner, not a job. And that's what happens with these two. They get a partner. They learn to take care of one another. And they learn to enjoy to spend time together. Is it weird that she's still a prisoner? Yes. Is it a bit of an imbalance of power? Yes. But also, she can bully him and he would take it. And we established that very early on because she yells at him and he's like, eh. But after that, she doesn't feel the need to yell at him. You know? Because he doesn't want to scare her or to hurt her. And he changes for her, quote unquote changes. Not because she tells him to, but because he realizes she deserves someone better. So he became someone better. Do you see how that works? And I will die on the hill that Beauty and the Beast, it has the most natural and believable progressions of a love story out of all of them. We see time of them being together, and I will die on this soapbox, thank you. Belle is a beauty because she has thorns. She literally is a rose. And that's why this movie stands the test of time. That's why when you go to Disney Sweethearts Nights, there's like 2 separate lines for 2 different Belle and Beasts. I think it's 2 different Belle and Beasts. If not 2 like different ones in 2 different sections, then it's one fuck-ass long line, and they just have to trade out the actors to keep the line moving, because oh my god, Wub and I went, here's a picture, look how cute I look. I made that dress, by the way. I made it. Round of applause for me, thank you. But the line was so long, we're like, we can't even entertain the idea of standing in that, because we love Beauty and the Beast. But like, we can't even entertain standing in that. That's the entire night, and we paid to go eat food, so we're gonna go eat food, and that's what we did. Anyway, my redesign of this ring is very minimal. Again, I think a rose ring is very timeless. I personally don't like the asymmetrical design of the band, so I will change it to make it more symmetrical and not so much like that. But I will also say I do think that it sets apart this rose band, or this rose ring. It sets it apart from other rose rings that you just kind of come across if you're into jewelry. So I do love that. I will give it flowers there. I am going to keep this ring as gold because Belle is dressed in gold. And also red and yellow, they just go beautifully together, don't they? I wasn't planning on wearing red for this video, so that's very funny. And I would change the little stones. You know how we have the red cubic zirconia in the middle? And again, red cubic zirconia. So the other man-made stones could also just be cubic zirconia. They could be shiny. Our girls deserve shiny. Anyway, I would change the little ones, the little stones. I would change those to blue. Doesn't have to be a very deep blue, but blue. One, as a callback to Beast's suit, because he's also there. But 2, because that way they look like dewdrops on a rose. I want them to look like they have more purpose. And white is too stark, so I think like a dusty blue would be very pretty. And if you don't want to associate it with the Beast, you can associate it with Belle's first dress. She comes out in this dusty blue dress. So there's my ring. But as a whole, I do think that this ring is very pretty, and there's very little that I can like poke fault in for it representing our girl Belle, for it working as a promise ring, for it functioning as a piece of jewelry. Like, there's very little that I can like poke fault in. Like, it's pretty airtight, so that's why it's so high on the list. As for engraving, I think the only option is Tale as Old as Time, obviously. Also, Beauty and the Beast, unfortunately, is just like, it's a straight love story. It's a straight love story at the end of the day, and I couldn't really find an inspirational quote, so Tale as Old as Time it is, baby. And while I couldn't find an inspirational quote, I think she's so peculiar would go hard, and the girls that get it, get it. I'm gonna be incredibly frank with you for a second, and I don't even know if I'm gonna include this, but I think too many straight girls are really into Beauty and the Beast. I think too many women romanticize the idea of having to tame the beast in someone, and having this big, strong, muscular man there to protect me like a real man should. And I'm here like, don't make me laugh. The Beast is a big softie. The second that he is given love and given the space to be soft, he's just a cuddle bug. That's all he is. All he wants to do is sit and cuddle his girl all day, and you can't convince me of otherwise. And Belle would be the one protecting him. He's not going to tell the barmaid that she got his chicken tendies orders wrong. He's not. That's Belle's job. He would just smile and say thank you. And I think if we did a deep dive into the movie, we could make an argument that toxic masculinity was the real villain all along. And by deep dive, I mean a gentle, shallow step into a kiddie pool. As for our sparkly rating, Belle's actually number 5. She's just above Snow White. I think that she would appreciate a very fine, crafted garment. I think she would appreciate the thought that goes into making something with a high level of detail. I think that if she was picking out a dress that she would feel the most beautiful in, she would be gravitating towards a sparkly dress where the sparkles are put there with intention and with interesting technique. I think that would really scratch her brain. And things done interestingly and with technique are not always the sparkliest of the bunch, you know? Now, last but not least, Miss Tiana. Je t'adore, je t'aime, love Evangeline. This is my personal number 1, but I never said this was going to be unbiased. I just think it hits everything it needs to, on top of being an actual crown. It not only looks like the crown from the movie, but it elevates it. Because if you compare the two, it's not a direct one-to-one copy. There's a little bit more detail, there's a little bit more depth happening in the Pandora ring, which was shocking to me. And the fact that they even chose to have, like, the little sticky uppy bits and have them be, like, stones that are protruding, like, it's so cute. It's just so cute. And I do have one complaint. I know it. You know it. Your neighbor next door knows it. Why the fuck is it not gold? Why do you insist on having women of color be put in silver? What twisted kink is this, Pandora? And I don't kink shame, but today I will. What is the matter with you? Again, cute from afar. And I'm mentioning this once again. Why is only the black girl considered limited edition? Like, did you already get rid of your DEI employees? Is that what this is? This ring is gorgeous, and I assume that it sold out a lot faster than you thought it was going to. Because by my personal account of me just stalking the website for the past few months, this one was gone fairly quickly. I don't remember exactly where it ranked. I wish I was taking notes, but c'est la vie. And I'm just begging, like, please, please, don't delete this the second that Valentine's Day is over. Like, I hope that this showed you the want for more representation, even in jewelry, especially in jewelry, something that we all enjoy. Especially since we don't have Mulan or Pocahontas. All we have is Jasmine, and she's been holding the weight of the representation on her shoulders for way too long. Let her rest. And not only that, but in my opinion, I think Tiana is one of the cornerstone princesses. Like, if we had to boil down our princesses to 4, we only have 4 remaining princesses. I think for most people, Tiana would be one of them. Not only is Tiana the last 2D princess, she's also the first black princess, and a dark-skinned one at that. But she's also the people's princess. She was not born into wealth. The opposite, actually. She is a black girl from New Orleans who lives on the wrong side of the tracks. Her whole thing is you cannot wish on stars to make your dreams come true. You have to earn them. You have to work for them. You have to earn your happily ever after. And we get to see her live a black experience. She has to work twice as hard to receive half the amount of recognition. She actively gets discriminated to her face while they are eating the fruits of her labor. Literally. All the while being expected to embrace it with grace and a smile. And she does. She's mad about it. But she does. This is her lived experience that we get to see play out on screen in a Disney princess movie. That's insane. Oh my god. And I know, this movie was really heavily criticized when it first came out. Let it be known, I did go see this at a midnight release in a theater. I remember waiting in line, I remember everyone being so excited. Oh, man, good times. But no, this movie was heavily criticized when it came out because our first black Disney princess, and she spends over half the movie as a frog. So Tiana, if you didn't know, is the princess from The Princess and the Frog. And so she spends over half the movie as a frog, and I think that's an incredibly valid criticism. I think that I am so happy that people called that out, and people to this day have not let that go because I think that is so important. And in the same breath, I also don't want to discount that this movie made a black woman their protagonist. They didn't reskin a white princess and give her a tan with no rhyme and reason. Ariel. I have so many thoughts on the Little Mermaid remake. I loved that she was black and I was so excited to see her, and then they didn't do anything interesting with it. They just made her tan. Anyway, but Disney, when making Princess and the Frog, they took a European princess story, something that has worked well for them in the past, and they gave the story legs by purposefully putting it in New Orleans and having that setting and having a black main character be black, a black girl in the middle being black in the center being black in the middle, and they had that be the lifeblood that runs through the story. It's not a backdrop, it's not coloring, that is the story. Her life experience is what shapes the story to be what it is. And to see her crown be so faithfully adapted into a piece of jewelry that people can wear makes my insides so happy. I'm about to start my period and I'm gonna cry over a fucking ring? Oh, that's a new low. That's a new low for me. Anyway. I adore Tiana's princess design. I love that she is lily pad themed and she's green and she has this big beautiful ball gown. Oh my god, I love it. Have you seen a woman of color in green? We look fantastic, okay? So am I biased? Yes, but you knew that already. That's the point of the video. Which makes it even more upsetting that the ring is done in silver. And yes, is this my same critique for Jasmine? So why is Tiana so much higher than Jasmine and Rapunzel when they all kind of fit into that same critique that only one thing is kind of wrong? Simply because with Jasmine, I am confused by the moon and the stars being considered her iconography when that has nothing to do with her as a person. The same way that I'm confused with Rapunzel not having the sun be associated with her when that's a huge thing that people associate with her as a person. So that's why Tiana is so much higher on my list personally. And for a redesign, incredible minimal changes, and you could disagree with these and I would completely understand. Except for it being gold, that you can't disagree with that. But so we would make it in gold. And we're changing the position of the sticky uppy bits that poke out, simply because I think we can add a reference to Evangeline. I lost you. Our framing is not the same, but it hasn't been consistent this entire time. Oh my god, I got paint everywhere. Ugh, it's fine. We're fine. Anyway, if you haven't seen the movie, go watch it. But there's a firefly named Ray who's in love with the brightest star in the sky, who he says is named Evangeline. So I think we need a reference to Evangeline, because hearing that story is what makes Tiana start to open up her heart to love. Because before that, she is very closed off. Happily Ever After comes after I've achieved my dreams. Falling in love can come after I've opened my restaurant. Getting to dance with my friends can come after I open my restaurant. Like, that is the most important thing to me. So seeing Ray and how he's in love with Evangeline and with everything that happens with that. If you have not seen this movie, because a lot of people haven't, go watch this movie. It's so good. Oh my god. It's what starts to open up her heart to love. So I think that's important to have on her ring. Also, I am changing out the epoxy fuck-ass looking fucking rings. No, she's getting a faceted ring. If Rapunzel gets a sparkly twinkly man-made stone, so can Tiana. We don't need to settle for this smooth middle piece. Let it be sparkly. Let it glisten in the light, okay? Facets. We want something that looks expensive, okay? And like I mentioned with Jasmine, I think both rings need to have the stone have a setting that covers the back a bit, because having these colored stones that raw dog sit on your skin makes it look really dull in some photos and videos that I've seen, and just really murky. And we don't want that. We want the bright teal, the bright blue, we want the bright green. We want that to resonate with these rings. Especially since these two rings specifically, most likely, more often, are going to be worn by melanated individuals. Let's just give it its best shot for being as vibrant as possible, okay? And as for the engraving, I think Je t'adore is the only correct answer here. Trials and Tribulations, or Almost There, both, I think, are really good self-motivating quotes, inspirational quotes, if you're going to buy this ring for yourself. But since we are designing promise rings for Valentine's Day, Je t'adore would be gorgeous. And also, if it wasn't so long, I would say It Wouldn't Be My Dream Without You There would also be very sweet, but that would have to go all the way around. Like, it'd have to, double back on the ring, okay? So, Je t'adore is the winner. Je t'adore, je t'aime, love Evangeline. Oh, such a beautiful movie, such a beautiful song. But as for the sparkly scale, our girl Miss Tiana comes out at number 3. I know I said she's the people's princess and she comes from a poor upbringing. This is true. And I think that's why she would appreciate the finer things in life. Especially once she becomes a princess and she fulfills her dream. I think she would really, really appreciate the sparkles and the finer things in life. And there could be an argument made that she wouldn't feel like herself being dripped out in sparkle. You know what I mean? But I'd like to remind the class that when she dreamed of her future, she pictured herself in something beautiful and sparkly. And even if she did feel weird about it, I think Naveen would want to spoil her because she's worked so hard in her life and because he knows that she appreciates it, right? I think he would go out of his way to remind her, you deserve this. You look great in this. You've earned this. Look at what you have done. Look at what you have created. Look at what you now get to enjoy. And look what else you can do. I think that's the type of spouse that Naveen would be for Tiana specifically. And again, just like Belle, it's not that she would change him. It's that, oh, you deserve someone better. I can do that. I can be better. Is the type of energy he gives. And at the end of the day, she is still a humble queen. And I think she appreciates the finer things and the sparkle. But I don't think she needs the finer things and sparkle. Which is why she's number 3. Versus Ariel and Jasmine, who were both born into royalty. And I don't think that they would feel like themselves if they weren't dripped out, right? And not in a vain way. I think that they would just feel horribly underdressed for a special occasion if they didn't have that, right? It's like, oh, it's not appropriate to not be dripped out. That's how that works in my brain. But now we're on to the bonus rounds, and I'm on to my last coat. We're gonna make it, folks. I know we've talked about Aurora in multiple segments so far, but I've also decided that we're also gonna throw in a couple thoughts about what Mulan and Pocahontas rings might look like. Because that's the full princess line. They're included, and so they should be included here. We're not gonna go into all detail like we have for these past 7. We're just gonna do some ring designs and some spitballing, okay? So, Aurora, also known as Briar Rose, and also known as Sleeping Beauty, to everyone except for my partner. She is marketed to us as the pink blondie who just needs a nap. And honestly, I get it. Me too. I also need a nap. And I know I mentioned earlier that I think Pandora could try to do something cool using an alexandrite stone, but I think that would be a horrible misstep. It's a cool idea, it's a cool concept, and I think marketing-wise, they would say, make it blue, make it pink, just like Aurora. But that's not what happens in real life. I think alexandrite as a stone, at least for a project like this that's not getting the finest materials, we're getting man-made, we're getting assembly line. I don't think that alexandrite is the right stone to do. I think it's a little too temperamental. I think more often than not, it's just going to look purple, and then people are going to get confused with Rapunzel and Aurora. Now, how do I know that alexandrite is a more temperamental stone, and more than often than not, is just going to appear purple? Because I love alexandrite, and technically, it's my birthstone. I'm a June baby, so pearl and alexandrite are my 2 birthstones. And I have this beautiful alexandrite stone that my partner gave me. And this would be about the size that would be in these rings, no? It's meant to shift between pink and blue, and it kind of does. But for the most part, it just looks purple. And that's fine. I think this necklace is gorgeous, and I love it. And I only didn't wear it because I have so many other necklaces. All of these were gifts, actually. This one's from my partner, this is from an old boss, and this one's from my best friend. How fun. And that's how I know that alexandrite is probably not the right stone for the Aurora ring, right? And also, I think I just have a better idea. Because I think for this ring, you are presented with a really interesting opportunity to make a ring that works in both silver and gold. Kind of like we did for Belle, but instead of having one ring in 2 colors, we just have 2 rings of the same mold. So the silver is made with blue stones, and then the gold is made with pink stones. Especially since Aurora's crown is a much more standard crown shape, I think a good way to add interest is having the two versions, if you would. And I think that this ring needs to look more chunky, a little more vintage, like her crown is much more sturdy, you know what I mean? And that way, even visually, we have the distinction between the Aurora and the Rapunzel ring. The Rapunzel ring is light, it's airy, there's that negative space, and Aurora is much more sturdy and solid and almost has a vintage look to it with more filigree, right? And also more precedent for us to have 2 different designs. Aurora goes by 2 different names. So she goes by Aurora, that's her princess name, that is the name that she's given at birth, but when she's secluded away with the fairies, they name her Briar Rose. So she has this woodland, fairy, not wild girl, she's still a princess. She's still dainty and reads in the woods. But then she learns that she's a princess, and she goes and is accepted by her royal family, right? So we have Aurora, Briar Rose, 2 personalities, 2 rings, the precedent's already there, and having the silver and the blue, and the pink and the gold is also a reference to make it pink, make it gold. No, make it pink, make it blue. And if you really want a beautiful, beautiful interpretation of a Briar Rose and Aurora ring, I'm redirecting you to Or Jewelry. Oore Jewelry, if you're just listening. But she's the artisan who I personally want to make my engagement ring. I think she's beautiful. She's gone viral a few times. And she makes gorgeous rings. Oh my god. But in her collection, and what made me follow her was she had 2 rings that were essentially the same shape, but the details were different. So they hold the same amount of stones, they hold the same shape stones, and they make the same shape on the finger, but one is formed with leaves and one is formed with filigree. So one is the Briar rose setting, the one with leaves, and the one with beautiful filigree and more princessy is the Aurora setting. And I thought that was incredibly clever, and I had to explain to my partner what that meant and why that made me so excited. So I want to make it very clear that she is the inspiration for my inspiration for the Aurora ring for Pandora. And I know that Aurora Jewelry already has like 1 million followers. I think she crossed over. But go follow her. She deserves so much more. I know she's working up to having a brick and mortar store, and selfishly, I want her to have a brick and mortar store, so go follow, give her business if you can afford it. Again, it's engagement rings, like they're expensive. But go follow and share, so one day she can have it so I can go and try on my wedding ring in person. Consider. For me. Anyway, the engraving, Once Upon a Dream. There's not really another option with this one. That one's pretty straightforward. Mulan! This one is easy. The Magnolia Blossom Comb. That's it. We're done. Not only does it represent Mulan as the flower blooming in its own time, but it also works as a crown because she wears it on her head. But more than that, I think that she would consider her father putting the flower in her hair and getting her comb back. I think that she would consider that as her crowning achievement, even over saving the emperor, even over saving China, like being able to go home to her father and to her family. And I know I ran away, I know I did all these things, but I did it because I loved you, I wanted to protect you, and look at these things that I've done. Please still love me, and him still loving her and not caring about, oh, cool, you saved China, but more, oh my god, my baby is back. I think that would be her crowning moment, for her personally. I know the achievement is like wonderful and amazing and she did all these wonderful things, but getting the love of her family and the respect of her family, I think, means a lot to her. So not only is it a crown in the sense of she doesn't wear a crown and it's a thing that she wears on her head, but it's also a crowning moment for her, is all I'm trying to say. This one also has to be set in gold. And not just because I like gold, okay? Mulan gets a medal at the end of the movie from the Emperor, and it's gold colored, so it makes sense. Also, this would fucking eat in gold and red. That's it. We have the comb in red, we have the magnolia flower in white, and the band in gold, the setting in gold. Mwah! Like, I'm sorry, Your Honor. It slays. And obviously the only correct engraving is a girl worth fighting for, because not only does it work as like, oh, a cute romantic thing, but also for yourself. If you're wearing a ring, a girl worth fighting for, babe, you're the girl. You're the girl worth fighting for. Fight for yourself. You deserve it, okay? I love that. Anyway, last but not least, Pocahontas. So, honestly, I have a few thoughts about the idea of having a Pocahontas ring. Mostly, it's racist to include her, and it's also racist to exclude her. Sorry. I didn't make the rules. What do you want from me? And honestly, in my honest opinion, if you are going to do 9 out of 10 princesses, you have to do all 10. You have to do Pocahontas. But if you're going to do that, I think, personally, you need to hire a native jewelry designer first and foremost. Because if not, you are actively going out of your way to be lazy. The movie Pocahontas takes a lot of liberties with the history of oppressed people. And at this point, there's no real way to fix it. You know what I mean? Like, everyone knows, like, oh, it's not historical. It's just an over-romanticized version. Ah. But Pocahontas was a real person. And more than that, she was an underage person. And so to have her be the main character in a movie that bastardizes her history and makes her fall in love with a colonizer, it's just weird. It's just weird. And it's a great movie, and it tries to do a lot of great things and has a lot of great things to say. Savages, banger. Banger, and very effective at what it's trying to tell you. That you both think you're both savages when that is not the case. You both have a twisted perceived reality of each other, right? Clever, cool, it does a lot of cool things, but we can't take away that, hey, it's weird that it exists, you know what I mean? So, is there a real way to fix it? Not really. So if we're gonna do Pocahontas, like I said, it's racist to exclude her, it's also a little racist to include her. So, we can't hee-hee-ha-ha our way out of this one, folks, unfortunately. And this is something that has to be done with a high level of tact, because this is something that they would be making money from, obviously. That being said, personally, if I were to design a ring, 'cause that's what we're here for, if I were to design a ring, I would have a simple band in the shape of a feather. It's a pretty basic ring, which is, again, why we would want a native designer to really bring life to it, so it doesn't look like a ring a white girl got on vacation. But that's my ideas. Let's do a feather, and I think segments of the feather could be turquoise, like actual turquoise, not just cubic zirconia, not just the epoxy ass looking shit, like a piece of turquoise. And then as for metals, I think this would be really interesting to have two-tone metals, like have the base be silver and have some of the like texture on the feather be gold. I think that'd be really cool. And from a very quick Google search, very quick, not in depth Google search, I think a native designer would fucking eat with that design, personally. And also in Disney's marketing of Pocahontas, she does have touches of turquoise. She does wear a feather in her hair, I believe for her act of valor is what she has it for. That's also why she's a princess. To be a princess, you have to like be the lead in your own movie, either be born or married into royalty, or a huge act of valor, which is why Mulan and Pocahontas are there. And so I think that's why she has the feather in her hair, and why I think the feather would be a very appropriate crown in place of a traditional Western crown. And I can hear people already typing, because you're very loud, that, oh, Tiana's ring didn't have a black designer, Jasmine's ring didn't have a Middle Eastern artist. And to that I say, one, you don't know that. Unless you have information that I was not privy to, or that I just happened to miss. But I couldn't find who designed the rings. But also I'm kind of stupid, and I might not know where to look, but I did look. And two, Native people have been profited off enough without being compensated, and Pocahontas, the movie, does that, so let's just not encourage that, right? Let's not feed into the bastardization of history. Allow someone the chance to take back the narrative. Anyone who wants to step up. And not only that, it's a fucking good PR move. At the end of the day, we're here to design rings that would sell, that people would want to wear. Guys, it's a good PR move. Put money where your mouth is, alright? Like, honestly, just pretend to care, even if you don't, and make money. Talking to Pandora, not to you guys. You guys are great. And as for an engraving, I really can't think of one that's appropriate, given, once again, the real person of Pocahontas was underage, and that's the inspiration of the story. So having the idea of this being a promise ring and being romantic feels a little off. And also, I can't think of one. Yes, they fall in love, but the romance is not like a big part of that movie. The romance is more a vehicle for colonization and settling disagreements. So, because all the quotes I think of are like way too long to put on a ring, or just not appropriate to put on a ring. Anyway, I really did not mean to end on such a downer in our little hee hee ha ha video. But there we have it. That's where we ended. If you guys know what a good Pocahontas engraving would be, because I think I got all the other ones. I think I got good ones for the other ones too, on top of like the more cookie cutter ones. Quotes, that is. If you have one for Pocahontas, let me know. But anyway, that's all of them. What'd you think? Did you have a favorite? Did I nail it? Did I miss it by a mile? Let me know down below. Is there a ring that you prefer my redesign over the original one? Is there one that you would love to wear? Like, let me know. Also, did you guys get one of these rings for Valentine's Day? Did you get one for yourself? Slay. I want to know. Like, if you got one, please take a picture and tag me. I'm authorpquill everywhere online. Because I really want to see them, and I don't think that there are enough photos or good photos online of these rings. A lot of people have been talking about them and posting photos of the listing, but not many people have their hands on them just yet. So if you have them and you have a pretty picture of them and you want to share, oh my god, I would love to know. I would love to know. Oh my god. Even if you just DM it to me, like, that's fine too. Like, you don't need to like post and tag it. You can DM me. My DMs are open. I might take a while to get back. The DMs also scare me, but I'm trying. But the important part of this video is that I hope you guys had a fun time being here. Because at the end of the day, this is a really lighthearted video about ripping apart rings. It's not that serious. At the end of the day, it's really not a big deal. I don't own any of these rings. I think all these rings are very pretty, even if they have some mistakes in them. So if you own them, don't feel like, oh my god, it's awful because Percy said it is. That's not the case. It's gorgeous. It looks great on you, babe. It does. It really does. I'm serious. Send me pictures. And also, Pandora doesn't know who any of us are. So we really are just kind of sitting here having a fun little kiki, okay? All I hope is that you guys had just as much fun being here as I had being here with you guys. Because it's been an honor to spend this time with you. Because Valentine's Day is not just about being in a relationship, going on dates, blah, 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 blah. It's about love in general. Love yourself. Love your friends. Make sure you tell someone that you care about, hey, I'm thinking about you today. Unless they're going to mistake that as something else. Do it platonically. Don't start mess on my behalf, okay? Or do. Not my problem. I don't know you. Either way, I hope that this silly lighthearted video is able to keep you company. But no matter what, at the end of the day, I hope that you guys have a good day. Wait, before you go, do you want to see my candles? I think they came out really cute. You can't look at them too closely. They're full of brush marks, but they're gonna be burned, so I don't care that much. Like, look how cute that looks from afar. This was fun. And I'm excited to burn them with my love and to have dinner together, so. But yeah, enjoy your love day. Spread a little extra love around for me, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.